It's making it so that I can't enjoy my time with Robyn because I'm not seeing my other wives and children.
Welcome back to GlowGossips USA, where truth burns brighter than secrets, and every story cuts straight to the heart. Today, we uncover the day that shook the entire Sister Wives world. The day Kody Brown walked into that courtroom believing he still held the power, only to walk out stripped of everything he'd built, everything he'd controlled, and everyone he thought would always stand by his side. What happened behind those doors didn't just end a marriage. It ended an empire and exposed Kody's most hidden fears for the whole world to see. The courtroom was silent that morning, but the tension could be felt in the air. Kody entered in a dark suit that didn't quite hide the storm brewing inside him. His once confident stride had turned into something more forced, more desperate. Behind him sat Robyn, her hands tightly clasped together, her face pale, eyes darting nervously between the judge and Kody. Across the room sat the women who once shared his life, Christine, Janelle, and Mary, no longer his wives, no longer afraid. They didn't sit as a united family anymore. They sat as witnesses to his downfall. Christine's face was calm, but her eyes burned with the quiet strength of someone who had waited years for justice. Janelle looked weary yet resolute, the woman who had stood by him through years of promises and debts, now ready to reclaim what was hers. Mary, the first wife, sat silently, a mixture of heartbreak and vindication flickering across her expression. The judge entered and everyone rose. That sound, the gavel hitting the desk, echoed through Kody's chest like thunder. As proceedings began, Kody tried to wear his mask of control. He adjusted his tie, leaned forward, and whispered something to his lawyer. But no amount of charm or manipulation could rewrite what had already happened. Years of broken promises, financial mismanagement, and emotional manipulation were finally being laid bare. Christine's attorney began first, her voice steady but sharp. She presented financial records that told the story better than any words could. Property transfers that favored Robyn, missing funds from shared family accounts, and investments that vanished without explanation. Kody shifted uncomfortably in his seat. He muttered to Robyn, who placed her hand on his arm, trying to calm him. But it was too late. The truth was speaking for itself now. Christine didn't look at him. She didn't need to. Her silence carried more power than any accusation. When Janelle's lawyer took the floor, the mood turned even heavier. She produced evidence of how Kody had used joint assets to secure Robyn's massive home, leaving Janelle struggling to pay for basic property expenses. The courtroom gasped as numbers flashed on the screen. Money withdrawn, accounts emptied, land transferred. For years, Kody had told everyone he was building a dream for the family, that Coyote Pass would be their legacy. But now it was clear, it was a lie. He had built a kingdom only for Robyn. Robyn's eyes filled with tears, but even those tears couldn't soften the truth. The judge's expression stayed cold and professional, but every revelation felt like another nail in Kody's coffin. When Mary's turn came, she didn't bring a lawyer's list of numbers. She brought her voice. For the first time in years, she spoke her truth without fear. She described how Kody had slowly erased her, not just from his heart, but from the family's foundation. I believed in our covenant, she said, her voice trembling. But all I got in return was abandonment and lies. I stood by him when no one else would. And he turned around and made me feel like I was the problem. Kody clenched his jaw, his face red. He wanted to speak, to fight back, but the judge raised a hand. Mr. Brown, the judge said sternly, you will have your turn. For a man who had always controlled the narrative, being silenced was unbearable. He sank back in his seat, his pride slowly dissolving. As evidence piled up, the weight of his own actions became undeniable. Even the TLC representatives sitting in the back, who once viewed the family as their golden ticket, now looked uneasy. The network had made millions from Kody's story, but even they couldn't protect him now. The show had turned into a courtroom drama that was too real, too raw, too tragic. When it was Kody's turn to speak, he stood up slowly. His voice cracked, but he tried to project strength. This family fell apart because people stopped believing in the vision, he said, gesturing toward Christine and Janelle. I worked for years to build something for all of us, and now everyone wants to play the victim. His lawyer shifted nervously beside him. Kody's words weren't helping. They sounded less like defense and more like denial. Christine finally looked up, meeting his eyes for the first time. There was no anger there, just exhaustion. You stopped building for all of us a long time ago, she said softly, and the entire courtroom heard it. That one sentence hit harder than any lawyer's argument. The judge leaned forward, her tone measured. Mr. Brown, the evidence presented today paints a clear picture of mismanagement, favoritism, and financial misconduct. You may not have intended to harm your family, but the result is the same. You placed your trust and resources disproportionately, causing severe detriment to your other spouses. Robyn broke down quietly beside him, whispering, "Kody, they're twisting everything." But deep down, even she knew the truth. She had watched it happen. She had benefited from it. And now she was paying the price too. Outside the courthouse, reporters were gathered, cameras flashing like fireworks. Fans of Sister Wives had followed every twist of the story online, but nothing compared to this. The man who once preached unity and spiritual leadership now looked broken and lost. Inside, the judge announced a brief recess, and Kody stormed out into the hallway, muttering under his breath. Christine followed moments later, but not to confront him. She stood quietly by the window, looking out at the Arizona skyline. Janelle joined her, their eyes meeting in a silent acknowledgement that this was the closure they both needed. They didn't celebrate, it wasn't triumph. It was release. Mary joined them too, and for a fleeting moment, the three women who had endured years of emotional chaos stood together again, not as rivals, not as sister wives, but as survivors. Meanwhile, Robyn sat alone in the courtroom, her mascara streaked, her hands trembling. For the first time, she wasn't the protected one. She was watching her husband unravel, and she couldn't stop it. Every whispered promise, every reassurance that it'll all work out, had turned to dust. When court resumed, the financial expert took the stand. He confirmed that the Brown family's joint assets had been mismanaged, leading to severe financial loss. Coyote Pass, the dream property, was now under review for redistribution among the former wives. The words hit Kody like a physical blow. That land was his symbol, his control, and now it was slipping away. Janelle's lawyer asked for immediate partition. Christine supported it. Mary quietly nodded. Robyn's lawyer tried to delay proceedings, citing emotional distress, but the judge denied it. "This case is about fairness," she said firmly, "and fairness cannot wait." As the verdicts were read, the courtroom fell silent again. Kody's name echoed through the chamber, followed by the words he never imagined hearing: restitution, transfer, surrender. Each ruling stripped another layer of power from him. Robyn's tears turned into soft sobs, and even Kody's lawyer lowered his gaze. When the gavel finally struck one last time, signaling adjournment, Kody sat motionless. His hands trembled as he stared at the papers in front of him. Everything he thought he controlled was gone: the land, the family trust, even the moral high ground he used to justify his choices. As everyone began to leave, Kody stood up, his voice breaking as he called out, "You all turned against me!" His words echoed off the walls, desperate and hollow. Christine didn't turn around. Janelle didn't flinch. Mary paused for a second, then walked away without a word. Robyn rushed to his side, but Kody pulled away, running his hand through his hair, muttering, "This wasn't supposed to happen." Outside, the air felt heavier, charged with the emotion of years finally unraveling. Reporters surrounded the family, asking for statements. Christine simply said, "It's over." Janelle added, "We just wanted fairness." Mary stayed silent, looking ahead, as if she could already see a future free of his shadow. Robyn clung to Kody's arm, whispering, "We'll fix this." But Kody didn't respond. His eyes were empty, his expression lost. The cameras caught it all, the moment the patriarch who once ruled over a family of 4 wives realized he had no one left. That day became the headline everywhere: Kody Brown loses everything in court. But what the headlines didn't capture was the emotional storm behind it. The tears, the silence, the final acceptance that this wasn't just a legal defeat. It was the collapse of a man who refused to see the truth until it was too late. And as the sun set over the courthouse, Christine, Janelle, and Mary walked away together, the past finally behind them. Inside, Kody sat in his car, staring at the empty parking lot, realizing that sometimes the most painful loss isn't what the court takes away, it's what you lose when the people you love stop believing in you. The courthouse doors closed behind Kody Brown with a dull, echoing thud, sealing in the weight of everything that had just fallen apart inside. Outside, the Arizona sun burned hot, but Kody felt cold. The kind of cold that came from realizing there was no one left to fight for him. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted his name. But the man who once loved attention now shielded his face, muttering to Robyn to keep walking. He didn't want to talk, not today. He wanted to disappear. But disappearing wasn't an option anymore. The air around the courthouse felt electric. Christine, Janelle, and Mary emerged together, walking past the media without a word. The silence between them wasn't awkward. It was peaceful, powerful, and full of closure. They had all been through their own storms, but today, they shared something rare, the feeling of freedom. Christine's phone buzzed with messages from fans and supporters, people cheering her strength. Janelle's kids were already waiting to take her out for lunch, their pride clear in every text. Mary had no words for anyone. She just smiled softly, knowing that silence was her best revenge. Meanwhile, Robyn's heels clicked nervously against the pavement as she tried to guide Kody toward their car. "Just get in," she whispered, her voice shaky. "We'll figure it out." It's not over. But Kody wasn't listening. He was staring across the parking lot where his ex-wives stood. For a moment, he almost called out. But what would he say? That he was sorry? That he didn't mean for it to end like this? The words got stuck in his throat. When he finally climbed into the car, Robyn followed, shutting the door a little too hard. The silence between them was thick. Kody gripped the steering wheel tightly, his knuckles white. "They made me look like a monster," he muttered, eyes fixed ahead. Christine knew exactly how to play them. She's been planning this for years. Robyn swallowed, choosing her words carefully. Maybe she just wanted what's fair, Kody. He turned to her sharply. Fair? Fair? I gave her everything. I built this family from nothing, and this is how they repay me? By dragging my name through court? His voice rose and Robyn flinched. For a second, the mask slipped again. That same flash of anger that everyone had seen too many times before. Robyn looked down at her hands, tears threatening to spill. "I just wanted peace," she whispered. "I didn't want it to come to this." But peace was never something Kody understood. His mind raced with numbers, land deeds, and betrayal. The dream of Coyote Pass, once a symbol of unity, now felt like a curse. He had wanted to prove to the world that plural marriage could work, that his family was different. Instead, his family had proven that even the strongest facade cracks under lies. Later that evening, as news of the court verdict spread, social media exploded. Fans took sides, hashtags trended, and opinions poured in. Some sympathized with Kody, but most didn't. The consensus was clear. The wives had finally won their freedom, and Kody had finally faced his reckoning. Christine went live briefly, not to gloat, but to thank her supporters. "This has been hard," she said, her voice steady but emotional. "But I'm proud of the truth coming out. We all deserve fairness, even when it's painful." Her honesty struck a chord. People admired her for staying graceful, even in victory. Janelle, ever practical, focused on what came next. She spoke about rebuilding, about focusing on her children, and about finally taking control of her finances without fear. "It's been a long road," she admitted. "But sometimes losing everything you thought you needed is how you find what you actually deserve." Mary, though quieter than the others, shared a cryptic post later that night, a single sentence that broke the internet. Closure doesn't always come in words. Sometimes it comes in silence. Fans flooded her comments, calling her the strongest of them all. But inside the Brown home, the atmosphere was suffocating. Robyn sat on the couch, tissues scattered across the floor. Kody paced back and forth, ranting about the system, the lawyers, the lies. "They've turned everyone against me," he said, slamming his fist on the table. "Even the kids are looking at me like I'm the villain." Robyn wiped her eyes. "Maybe it's time to stop fighting, Kody. Maybe it's time to rebuild differently." He stopped pacing, glaring at her. "Rebuild with what?" "We're broke, Robyn. They took everything. The land, the accounts, the reputation. Do you even understand what that means?" Robyn's voice cracked. "It means we start over, Kody. We can still be together. We still have each other." But Kody shook his head, his expression hardening. "You don't get it. I built that family for decades. I sacrificed everything for them, and they just tore it all down." His voice dropped to a whisper. "I don't even know who I am without them." Those words hit Robyn harder than any outburst. For years, she had been his confidant, his chosen one. But now she realized she was just another witness to his self-destruction. She had stood by him when the others walked away, believing love could fix everything. Now she wasn't so sure. Days passed, but the fallout only grew worse. TLC executives called, wanting to discuss the future of the show. The court case had made headlines, but not in a way that benefited the network. "We can't keep filming chaos without resolution," one producer told them. "Audiences are sympathizing with the wives, not you." That stung Kody more than anything. For years, he had seen himself as the star, the patriarch, the leader. Now he was the villain in his own story. Christine, meanwhile, moved forward quietly. She bought new furniture, repainted her home, and smiled more freely than she had in years. David, her new partner, helped her box up old memories, photos, notes, and mementos she no longer needed. "You sure you want to throw this out?" he asked gently, holding a framed picture of the family. Christine nodded. "That chapter's over.